What's up? All right. So apparently I had some distorted noise there. Hopefully it is gone. This microphone, the kids have beaten and battered this thing so much in the short time that I've had it. And I think just from moving it back and forth, trying to keep the wire out of the way, all that good stuff. Let me know if I happen to fix it there. I also need to do one other thing here real quick. There we go. All right. So welcome to the live stream. Tim here at Volatility Trading. Hopefully we can get off to a little bit better start. Awesome. Cool. Sorry about that, Welton. What's going up, Welton? Jonathan, Vincenzo. Glad to have you guys here Friday night live stream. I am good. It's been an interesting week, 2 weeks. Just being home with the kids. It's definitely been a little bit of a change. So yeah, Thomas, you're the hot stuff. Well, let's get to it. All right, so tonight, Vincenzo kind of guessed it. We're going to be diving a little bit more into my new little, it's not really a new system. It's kind of the same system with just an updated look is what I'm going to call it. But it is a new system because we're not technically going 112 anymore, right? We were using 112. That is really the only thing that has changed, which does change other things. It changes exit strategy. It changes a lot of different things that come with the 112. But the overall strategy of using the scanners to find optimal entries for my trades is exactly the same. We're still looking for those same entries. What has changed is that we are now going to a one entry, one exit system, right? So that is the majority of it. How it works is, I mean, we have our new montage chilling right here. I can bring it over, blow it up just so you guys can see it a little bit better. I guess it might be better if I just get rid of the level 2 because it doesn't really make sense. But essentially what I did, let's actually go to our play today on, was it LYV, which, by the way, I wanted to say I'm actually fairly proud of myself because if you guys remember, LYV was that huge loser that I took not that long ago. And I just didn't even remember it when I got into the trade. I pulled up LYV. My first thought was, oh, this looks nice. It wasn't, oh, I previously traded this thing in the past. Let's be scared of it. So real quick, going to put some balls in my mouth. What did she just say? She is now playing music. Alexa, what song is this? Alexa, off. What did I say for Alexa to play the song Heartless out of nowhere? Hopefully it doesn't do it again after saying that. Like, how did that even happen? I'm going to keep one ear off just in case she does something like that again. I'm kind of curious what she... I'm like, what the heck? It's kind of creepy. But, you know what? I'm going to just go lock my door randomly. Give me a sec. And close the curtains. So, yeah. Guess Alexa thought that I wanted to hear the song Heartless randomly at 10:35 at night. Better don't give Alexa your DOS account password. Yeah, that was a little interesting. Yeah, anyways, back to LYV. The first thought in my head was, hey, this looks like a good trade or a good possible trade. Let's look at it and look to trade it. So that was what we did. We didn't just immediately remember, like we have in the past, a ticker that has taken our money and kind of get scared out of trading it. So yeah, I'm not going to be too upset with myself there. But anyways, bring the montage back up here. So what we're looking for when we get the move, as you'll see here, it's right above my head, that this was obviously right off the minus I3 scan. This thing was going down. It came down to around 29. We're looking for about 29, knowing that our biggest button that we have is the $2. So what we're looking at is where the move started. It's going to kind of suck because I'm going to keep losing the montage. Let me take it off the screen just a little bit here. There we go. So our previous resistance that we were going off of was right here at 30.70. So when it came down to 29.70, we were looking for this to get down towards that 28.70 area. What I didn't realize is that we didn't quite get there. I was giving it a little bit of room. Also kind of was looking where VWAP was at the time, which none of that really matters. It's really just the intensity of the move and the length from that previous resistance. That's how we're calculating how to determine which button to use. Now, the difference between the buy bid, buy ask, or short ask, short bid is the spread. If there's a spread on the stock, I can't just, like, for instance, the 50-cent buttons, they all give me a 20-cent range. So if I go to enter a stock where, say, this only went 50 cents, if the spread is 20 cents and I hit the ask for buying, it would immediately stop me out if somebody hits the bid, even by 1 cent, right? That wouldn't make any sense. So if it's a stock that I really want to get into because I like the move, but there's a big spread, that's why I have both sides of the spectrum. But if the thing is really moving and the spread is only like a couple cents, especially on a big move like this where it was almost $2, I am going to just, hit the buttons to make sure I get the trade, which is what I actually ended up doing here. So we ended up hitting the ask here with the $2 button, which means we needed 80 cents one way or the other. So where did I come up with the cents that I would need to get from the retracement? Well, believe it or not, I actually did a ton of back testing. And when you start to use, I haven't checked this one, so I might look like an idiot here in a second. But when you look at the start of the move to the end of the move with the fibs, the retracement levels almost always come back to about that 50% line, right? So in this case, we were a little bit wrong. We actually ended up getting a little bit more than that. And this isn't really, let me try to zoom in a little bit here. So what's really, I really hate that you can't like just turn these off for a second. Like just have like the little eyeball thing and just turn it off. That would be such a cool feature. So that way you didn't have to get rid of it and then re-add it. It's kind of frustrating, not gonna lie. But so anyways, as you can see, it actually did bounce right away to that 50% line before trying to come back down, and then it eventually went higher. So we may have been asking for a little bit more out of this than we thought, but when we did get into it, let's see where that 50% line would have been. So it's the second line, so it's right at where we ended up getting. So that's kind of what made the move a little bit different. But anyway, let's scroll out a little bit here. That chart was getting hard to look at. But anyways, what I was getting at is I brought up the fibs, and it seems like in most cases, if you go from the start of the move to the bottom, the idea is that you would get about that 50% retracement. So I actually decided to undercut that by 10%, figuring if we are most likely going to be early every once in a while, just like we were here, I would like to at least guarantee by trying to get right click. Oh yeah, you're right. I could do that. Let me try that real quick. But real quick, let me just finish the thought. But if they most likely will bounce 50%, I'm looking, if I'm a little bit early, giving my stock just that little bit of leeway, about 10%, to get back to that 40%. It's actually right now 40% to 40% because I'm risking one to make one, which I'm going to get to in a second as well. But okay, let me draw this. Go to here. There we go. Good idea. Unfortunately, I wish you could scroll up and down there as well, but that's definitely better. Thank you. Still waiting for my 10%. You have to go live. I'm not just going to send it to you. I want recognition. And I still can't even give you, I'd have to actually lose some money there because I only made, I think, $9.80 on it. So I can't even send 98 cents. I'd have to send you a full dollar. Dang it. So you're actually getting like 11% or something. But anyways, yeah, Jonathan, just to give you the insight for the 10%, live on the stream this morning, Justin had called out LYV in the ISW room, and that was actually how we ended up taking the trade. He would have owed me my full loss there if it would have been a loser. So 10% includes YouTube ad rev. Well, okay, so yeah, you're up to about $1 because that's probably about the ad rev. I wish you could pan vertically. Talked to them about it a few times, but they said people don't have that issue but me. Well, I wouldn't have, like, I really, you know what? Let me just show you. Like, if I were to get rid, I could just do that. I could get rid of just the high a day just for right now. I gotta go down to clear. So if I do that, that would help because, right, it's fitting all of everything into there. So if I do it that way, as you can see, it made it a lot better. But what I was getting at is when we get these moves, if I, from here, if I go back up to where we hit our entry, that 50% is actually, so actually it wasn't, that doesn't really seem right. I mean, I guess it's right because if you really think about it, I hit the $2 button and that's only $1.50. So technically it should have only been 70 cents, which would have been right at that 50 mark. But that second config button, no, I don't think that does anything. I wish it did. Like, I wish you could turn, like, you can include it in the scale, but you have to so that you can see the buttons. But but I don't want to mess with that because then it would turn it off. But I see what you're saying. I guess I could do that so that it won't affect the overall. Let me turn it back, see what it does. Yeah, so like now when I scale it, it technically won't use those, but I wanted to use those on a normal basis. But anyways, the conclusion that I came to was that the fibs were pretty much, when you get the retracement, they would at least go 50%. So I wanted to front run that to 40%, and it also made my moves a little bit quicker. The downside to that is I can get stopped out a lot quicker, which in this case you can see when we got in at 29.18 on the, that was the other thing that didn't come back up. Hold on 1 second here. I keep looking up for it and it's not there. Give me 1 second here. Where's my trading chart? I don't see. Oh, you know what? Because it's over on the other side. It's under the chart. Give me 1 sec here. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I was actually playing Counter-Strike right before this, and my computer crashed. I actually got a blue screen of death. I was a little worried. It was like right around like 10:15. I was like, I hope everything's all right. But I think it was just I had so many programs open all at once. But, okay, so the $2 button, I have to get 80 cents. The $1.50 button, I have to get 60 cents. That actually makes even more sense because I forgot that I skipped $1.75 because I figured if it's a big runner, going from $1.50 to $2 isn't that big of a deal, as you can see here. So I went from $1.50 to $2. So if we would have subtracted 20 cents there, we would have been under that 50 mark, which makes a lot more sense. That's why I was a little confused earlier. So right now, I'm looking to make one, risking one to make one. So 80 cents from here was what, 28.38, right? I'm doing the math right? It's late. I just started drinking the ball, so bear with me. I don't math well anymore. Yeah, 38. So our stop loss was, which you could see live on the trade, it was right here because I remember saying as it was going, if it poked through 50, which as you can see it never did, it went down right down to 28.50. But as whippy as this thing was and as spready as it was, I figured if this thing went right through 50, we were toast. Like it was going to stop us out. But it kept testing that 50 area and it kept popping back up. So once we finally got back through 29, I felt fairly confident that we were going to at least get that bounce because that was such a big move. The only thing we could have did better was obviously wait for this to go down, but it was kind of actually stuttering around this 29.40 area. And we wanted, knowing that we were going to have the 80-cent risk both ways, we wanted to get it under that $30 area, just in case when it popped, it would try to use that as resistance. So once we saw that we had the opportunity on the ask under 29.20, that was when we jumped in, because we actually got, obviously, as you saw, 29.18, which then put our risk at 80 cents up, which was at 29.98. We actually ended up getting the fill 2 cents higher at 30. I guess it just whipsawed right up there to it. So 1-to-1 ratio is what we're looking for. Now, I plan to try to take about 100 trades using this method, right? So I'm still looking for the same entries. I'm looking for big extended moves, up or down, doesn't really matter, away from previous resistance, looking for that retracement. The only difference is if we're wrong, which let me show you from yesterday. Where's my browser? I didn't get everything loaded back up from when my computer crashed. So, all right. That's not what I wanted. There we go. So here's my trades from yesterday and today. And if we pull up the loss, well, it's going to be the same chart, but you'll see my chart from yesterday. If we're wrong, it's going to stop us out, right? Now, we are obviously going to have times where we get stopped out because we were early. And as you can see, we weren't completely wrong. Like, we felt the top. It actually did try to come down there, but then it ultimately went and just continued. It wasn't just a straight up move as you see here. But we were still wrong, right? So we got stopped out. The only problem is there are going to be times where we run into where we end up top ticking these things on our exits. It's going to happen. But as you can see in this case, this thing continued to run. It was still an amazing move. And if this was a 1-1-2, this would have been a really good win. As GDT can be a testament to, because he did have a nice win on this. He scaled into this nicely and it came crashing down all at once. But we still did get a little bit of it. You know, we ended up actually making back what we lost. So there is that, right? But it also alleviates a ton of the risk. The risk being that every trade is the same. We risk the same amount to make the same amount. Now, we're going to get to that in just a little bit after I'm done kind of explaining about the possible 2-to-1 after the 100 trades and all that good stuff. So as you can see here, we were obviously wrong. We let it continue making its move. We felt the top, went through 19. It actually started coming back down. We actually got this entry right under 19. It was 18.98. And then we ended up getting the move back down. What's up, Jeff? The kicker to this is pretty much on any trade that I'm going to be wrong, that we're early, we're most likely going to get stopped out. And this is venturing into the 2-to-1, kind of segueing into it. We're going to be wrong if we're early, regardless of whether we're risking the same amount that we're looking to make or if we're risking about half that amount. We're going to get stopped out a lot more, but the general census is to make 1-to-2. We're not going to add an extra amount that we need to make to the take profit side. We're actually just going to cut the stop loss in half, right? So making it a 1-to-2, but we have less room to work with for our stop loss. But I went back and looked at all of my charts that were single entries and not single entries. Like, I went through and back tested all this from February 25th, back when we started trading the 1-1-2 again, to see how many trades I would have been stopped out if I was doing 1-to-2 versus the 1-to-1. And I think it was like 47 of the 70-ish trades. I think it was like 76 trades. I had the paper, but I just threw it away this morning, were single entry. And then out of those 47, it was 38 would have made 2-to-1 because I basically top ticked them. So if you look at a lot of these charts, like on this SU chart, that was obviously the same chart. So you saw the top tick there. But a lot of my charts, like now LYV, this would have been a loser going, because I almost got stopped out risking 1-to-1. So if I was risking 2-to-1 here, I obviously would have got stopped out. So that would have been a loser. If And the other thing too is I think I need to set a rule with myself that I'm not going to just jump back into trades right away. Hold on one sec. I'm trying to get to the SLB chart here. There we go. So this was literally looked at, the SLB and SU were basically running at the same time, and exact same thing here. So in both of these cases, we would have lost 1 R, but on the second trade, we would have made 2 R on both of them because we top ticked them. So essentially, we would have made 2 R over the course of both of those trades, where in essence, we actually ended up breaking even on these. So that's one advantage of 2-to-1. But again, you have to be pretty good with your entries on that, because on these, let me look at it. 95. So this was 50, 25. That's a 50, right? Or $1. So this was a $1 move. And that's the other thing too. As these moves continue, your risk actually changes on them. So on this one, we risked the $1. And then on this one, since it went another 50 cents, we hit the $1.50 button, right? So that's the difference. But what was I saying? Something about 2-to-1, 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 2-to-1. Oh, just that you have to be good with your entries, because it's so in this case with the $1.50 button, it's 60 cents. So I'm looking to make 60 cents, but I would have only have had 30 cents to stop me out instead of another 60 cents. Where in this case, on the first one, which is $1, which we have set to 40 cents. So we were looking for this thing to come down 40 cents. We also gave it 40 cents to the upside. And what I was trying to say earlier is that if we are early into a trade, whether it's 40 cents or 20 cents, it's probably not going to matter in most cases because you're just early, right? So you're basically counting on the fact that you're pretty good at hitting the top. And I think I have one more chart to go off of here, which is, I went the wrong way, sorry. I'm not giving up on balls, by the way. I'm going to message them again. Where are we at with viewers? We're at 10. We're getting there. We only need 25 more. So here was AMRN. This was actually our first trade with the new one, the new system here. So AMRN, real quick, this one I believe was a 50 cent move. Yeah, we took the full size here. 50 shares is 50 cents. Correct. Okay. I was saying today there was a lot of low range type moves that we might need to make one where it's a 25 cent move, which would be 100 shares. Actually, it would actually be a lot, right? No? Yeah, 100 shares with the 10 cent risk. So this one we got in, we were risking 20 cents to make 20 cents, right? And in this case, it also would have worked to make 2-to-1. So already just out of, we would have actually been 50%. If we go back, let's take a look here. Yes, 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 no, no, no. So we would have been 50% if we were going 2-to-1, which means we'd be up 3R, right? So, and in essence, we're actually only up 1, 2, since we have 4 wins and 2 losses, we're only up to 2R, right? Yes. So over time, obviously that's going to add up, but we're looking at a very small sample size here of 6 trades. And on top of that, I was so tired when I was putting all the hot buttons together the night before, I actually messed up the $1.50 button. I was actually risking $15 instead of 10. So that's why you see on both the loss of SU and SLB, we lost $10. But when we got back in and the move had went about another 50 cents on both of them, we hit the $1.50 button and it was actually risking 15 to make 15. So, and if you guys remember the end of the stream yesterday, we actually ended up closing that one out just a little bit early because it did not we were on the bid a couple times and it just did not want to fill us. So we ended up taking it for a little bit less than that. So yeah. All right. Let me catch up real quick. How long until you make a lot of money? Just curious. Addedly, I wish it was tomorrow or Monday, whatever you want to say, but it's a process, man. Even the gurus out there on YouTube that I don't agree with, the one thing that they all tell you that is very true is it's a process. It takes time. If I was literally just talking to one of my good friends that, he was trying to get in, he's talking to me trying to get into trading, that if you were an employee that's been somewhere for 20 years, right? You're a professional at what you do. You know the ins and outs. You've been around around the corner. You've been through everything there is pretty much that you could think of with the job, right? It'd be hard to be surprised at anything that goes on at your job because you've been there long enough that you feel like you've seen everything. Now, say a new employee comes in. Would you rather this new employee have some knowledge and they think they know what they're talking about, coming in to you as the trainer and trying to act like they already know more than you? Or would you rather have someone come in as a complete new person that has absolutely no clue what they're doing and they're receptive of what you have to tell them, and they're learning from someone that has been, around the corner and back? So what I'm getting at with that is you're not going to learn everything when you first start. I am into this coming up in August will be 2 years. I feel like I've learned a ton, a lot, but that doesn't mean by any means that I know what I'm doing. There's so much every single day that I will find out that I have absolutely no clue. Yeah, been around the block. That was kind of what I was trying to think of. I couldn't think of it. That I have absolutely no clue what's going on. If you want to start talking about Forex and options and like bonds and just all that other stuff, I would have no clue what it's all about. But someone that's been around for 20 years, who also doesn't have kids running around all the time while they're trying to learn all this stuff, they probably know at least the gist of everything to do with the markets. They know how certain things move when certain things happen. They've been around the block. So there's really no other way to put it. But for people to really buy into the fact that some of these people will say you can turn $500 into $50,000 in a couple weeks, well, guess what? You could if you've been around for a long time and you know how to do it. But to realistically make someone believe that they can do it being a completely new trader, that's like saying, okay, you've never built a rocket before, but I'm going to say that you can do it in a couple weeks, and all you got to do is follow what I'm doing from, and out. That's actually kind of a bad example because I guess he could give you good directions. I guess I would have to come up with something that has emotion behind it, because one of the biggest things is psychology when it comes to trading and emotions. So if we were to both jump into a trade at the same exact time, once we're in that trade, unless I'm the one hitting the button for you and you're not necessarily, like, I just give you the entry. In this case, with my new method, it really would make sense because we'd have the set risk and all that good stuff. But for all these other strategies where they're basically buying breakouts and stuff like that, once we're in the trade, the feel of being in that trade, the feel of knowing when you may have hit a top, when you may have hit a bottom, when you may be about to reverse, when volume's coming in, when volume kind of starts to slow down, all these different things come with experience, right? Being able to read the chart, read the price action, kind of feel what the stock's about to do. You can't just teach that to somebody. That literally requires you sitting down in front of these charts and watching them, watch it happen. Because until you do that, you're just not going to fully understand what I'm talking about. So it's a loaded question for someone to be like, how long is it going to take you? Well, I don't know. How long is it going to take me to understand what I need to do to make the strategy that I'm trying to apply work and be profitable over time? Because as much as I enjoy trading the 1-1-2 system, I just clearly am too risk adverse to make it work. Like, I have a problem when I enter a trade. Like, I will wait for the perfect entries to get into a 1-1-2 situation so that I never seem to get the second one or the two. I have like it was like 70, I want to say it was 72% of my trades were single entries over my lifetime of trading 112. That's a lot. That means 72% of the time I'm only making 25% of what I could have made based off of the statistics, right? The numbers don't lie. So that was a hard pill for me to swallow, is that, hey, I'm just not as brave as I thought I was. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that I have a small account. I know that if I lose this money, I don't really have any extra money laying around to just, put into a new account. You hear a lot of these stories for all the seasoned professional traders where, it took them 2, 3, 4 blown accounts before they finally got it. Some of these guys were saying it was like 25 grand a piece. Like every account that they blew was, actual accounts. And I'm sitting here with, a $5,000 account and I'm trying to build it up. And I'm like, I don't have an extra $5,000 laying around to just reload if that happens. So I guess that could be a part of my fear. And that's where I've been listening to Trading in the Zone for the 3rd time now to really kind of get that psychological disadvantage out of my system, because that's what it is. It really is a disadvantage. I miss a lot of trades because I'm just scared to hit the button, because I'm like, well, what if it keeps going, right? Well, that's the whole point. We don't know what it's actually going to do. Even after you get into the trade, you don't know what that stock's going to do. If anybody actually knew what a stock was going to do, they're going to make lots of money. So you have the big money that can manipulate these stocks. They know what it's going to do because their money's going to make it move. And that's why they make a lot of money. But us little retail traders, we're not in that position. So we have to basically put ourselves in a high probability setup. And that's what I like to think, that I'm doing on a daily basis. But now that I figured out that I can put myself in a winning trade, it's now trying to figure out how to maximize the amount of money I'm making from those trades. So that's where coming back to the single entry method to me might make a little bit more sense, because I'm really good at picking entries. I've already established that 72% of my trades were single entry, and of those 72 trades, it was like 66% were winners. So it was very rare that I was wrong when I'm making those single entry trades. But during that back test as well, I also noticed that sometimes I would let the stock go a little against me, just like LYV today. Let's go back to LYV. So as you could see, a lot of my 112 trades sometimes would go past my entry, and I'd be looking for like a key break. Obviously, this isn't a good example because it went right through 29, which would have been a great place to add. But I would let it go against me a little bit and I wouldn't get an ad, and then it would come back and work in my favor. And then I would only make 25% of, because I only had the single entry, which is 25% of my position. So my thought process just last week was, hey, let me start getting a little bit more aggressive. So when the first entry goes against me a little bit, I'll just look to add a little bit more aggressively. And then I'll still have that last ad of the 2 in the bag to get that ad so that I can be full position if it does break, a key level that I was looking at or whatever. So we would still get 3 entries, but the second ad would be a little bit more aggressive, and we would be in at least 50% of our position. Well, it just didn't work. I still I just mentally couldn't do it. So what I started to realize is, hey, maybe I'm just a single entry kind of guy. And so I really just kind of ran with it. I started going back. I started looking at all my trades, and I realized, wow, a ton of my trades are single entry. Why don't I just jump on the boat and sail away into the sunset and see if this actually works, right? Let me live off the sea, whatever. So that's kind of how we got to this, where we are, and we're looking to see if it works, right? We just started it. We are 6 trades in 2 days. I really was a little bit upset today because taking a look at the SPY, the way that this thing set up at the beginning of the day in the pre-market right here, all the stocks, like every stock that has been kind of moving with the market, was right at yesterday's highs. And that's exactly what we want. We want everything to just break out, go through previous resistance, and extend itself, right? Well, right there before the bell, right around 9 o'clock, this thing just dumped. And then now we were fighting back. And what that transferred into, which I remember two of them, NVTA, this thing ran up right at the open, poked through that previous resistance from yesterday, as you can see the dotted green line there, and just got no extension. And the other one was Etsy. That's right. Did the exact same thing. Huge move right up to that previous resistance, poke through. We're looking for this big extension through, and we just never got it. And we actually watched this entire move too. Sure, it did extend itself, but these were just grinder candles. It never really gave you like these big candles that we were looking for. So we never ended up taking a trade there. We actually on stream said, hey, we should take this descending triangle that's forming here. And then we just straight up, as it was plummeting down, we missed it. So a little frustrating on that one, because that's the other thing too. If we are early on a trade, like say we get into LYV here and say we were early and we got stopped out, and say the move was actually here, but then you start getting this ascending triangle. Well, just because we got stopped out of the early move and we didn't in the top, say it was kind of a top tick and it starts to come back up, we can always look for those triangles, right? Because we're looking for those big extended parra type moves, and usually after those follow a descending or ascending triangle. So we can really look for those after the fact as well, and those are set risk trades, which are nice as well. So, hey GDT, you know what? I'm not even going to say it. I'm going to show it to you, just like I would normally. Oops, wrong folder. You already know what's coming. So, yeah. Let me catch up here in chat. Addedly, how long have you been trading? Are you making millions? If so, why are you here bugging me? Let's catch up here. I'm stopping trading for 2 months, focusing on real estate. Once I close my first deal, I'll fund my trading account. Wouldn't that be a little backwards? Shouldn't you not have any funds after you close your first deal? Yeah, GDT, that was definitely, like B scales in. Actually, I think wasn't that how your trade worked yesterday? Kind of or you kind of Brian the crap out of that thing. Yeah, very true, Zishan. It's definitely a marathon, not a race. I want to be around trading for a very long time. I want to figure this out to where I can make this a sustainable income. I'm not, if it takes me trading this small share size until I figure it out, I'm limiting my risk, right? I don't need this money to survive in the real world. Obviously, this is the real world, but I don't need this money for our bills and all that good stuff. So if I can risk as little as I can to make sure that I can stay around, because that's one of two things that will make you successful in the stock market. One is consistency. Figuring out a way to be consistent at something that is profitable is rule number one. If you can't do that, you're not going to be successful. It's that simple. You might find some short-term success if you go on a little bit of a hot streak and stuff like that. But if you can't become consistent, you're never going to be profitable in the long term. If you can make $10 a day for 100 days in a row, you can make $1,000 a day for 100 days in a row. So it's literally just scaling up your share size. Number two is part of that scaling. It's risk management. You need to apply risk management when you first start out. I can't tell you how many people come into the market, they start just throwing 1,000 shares at things and they blow their account in like the first month or first week sometimes. And it's like, what are you doing? You literally have no clue what you're doing. Going back to, what I was talking about before, a new job, you don't just learn it in a week. It takes years. It takes 5-10 years for you to really become like a master at a job. Obviously, there's going to be some people that learn quicker. There's going to be some people that take longer. But even if you learn the job in 2 years, you're still not a master of those skills. Like it's just not going to happen. And when it comes to something as complex as the stock market, there's no way that you can learn the ins and outs of everything and have a profitable, consistent strategy in 2 years. I don't think it's possible. The only way that could be possible is if you're the son or daughter of a trader that already has those things, and they can literally just try to teach you exactly what they're doing. and really cut the curve down. I feel like that's the only way. And even then, their emotions might be different. So for someone that's trading like the 112 system and they're really profitable at it, like say B, our mentor over at ISW, if he tries to teach his kids how to do that exact same thing, they just might not be cut out for it, because that takes a lot of mental capacity to really want to be able to take a beating in a stock, knowing that the probabilities are in your favor to make a lot of money if and when if it does come back down or back up, in this case on LYV. But to be able to just scale into a position and keep adding, knowing that the more it extends itself, the more likely it is to retrace, it takes a lot. A lot of people are not designed. None of us are really designed growing up or even taught or just brought up to really say, as things are going against me, I want more of it, right? Think of that. If someone's, it's like if you see your account balance going down and down and down, your idea is like, the first thought in your head is like, holy crap. And this is what creates the panic selling in the overall markets, is people, when they see their retirement funds going down, just their overall positions, in certain stocks going down, they're like, sell, 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 because they panic, right? That's just your natural instinct. But that's why we say buy fear, sell euphoria, because while everyone is panic selling, eventually you are going to run out of sellers, and you're going to have a bunch of people, the real people that understand this concept, start to step in and say, okay, you just gave me a super cheap price, and like in this case, and we're going to ride this thing back up. Because as you get these panic sells, you also get the big volume. But once that volume starts to run out of the sellers and the imbalance starts to go back towards people buying, that's what creates the reversals. So a lot of people are not wired to just say, as I'm losing money, add more to my position, because what they're thinking is, if it keeps going against them, now they're just going to keep losing more money. So to be able to trade that 112 system, it takes a lot. Like, you have to want to take an ass beating while it's happening, knowing that you have a high probability of making good money when it does retrace, if it does retrace. There are going to be, instances, I've dealt with them myself, where, you get the big move down and then it just kind of consolidates. It tries to come back up and it just doesn't, right? It happens. But yeah, it's definitely just the risk management. Back to what I was saying, risk management and consistency are the two main things in trading, that if you can't master those two when you first start out, then you're just not going to last long term. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to last long term. All right, let me catch back up. It's definitely a buyer's market. There was some bad news with Delta. I was reading a headline earlier. It said, I actually still have it up, Delta Airlines says it expects Q2 revenue to be down 90%, and the company is burning through $60 million in cash every day. That's an insane amount of cash per day. I don't really understand how they're doing that, but I even said in the chat, I was like, are they flying empty planes or something? Which I guess they could be, if you really think about it. And working with investors, yeah, that's a good way. Zishan, I don't know if you've heard of Bigger Pockets. Go check them out if you haven't. There's a ton of good information on their website. Discipline until you get it. You will lose it all every time. Yeah, that's very true, Mr. Gifford. Fear is your friend, Tim. Make it. LOL, it makes you want to hit your goals even more. Yeah, it's very true. I think I feel like getting into the trades it's not about losing the money for me. That it's not the fear of losing the money. I guess in the grand scheme of things, it is, because like I said, I don't have the money laying around just to reload my account. But I think the main purpose is I'm more scared of being wrong than I am about the money. Yeah, I think that's my psychological disadvantage, is I don't want to be wrong more so than the fact that I'm worried about the money. So that's why, like with the 112, you would see me always wait longer and longer to get my ads, because I was using the 112 as a way to stay in the trade so that I could win in the trade. It wasn't, and you would see me take smaller profits and just be happy with it because I was winning, right? I won that trade. I didn't, make a lot of money, which in the grand scheme of things, if I'm always risking, say, $100 to make $10, that means at any given point, it only takes one trade to wipe out 10 winning trades. And it makes no sense. There's no way that is profitable in the long run. And that's exactly what I was doing. So I knew something needed to change. And again, I was trying to figure out what to do. And so over the course of these past couple weeks, I've like really been hammering down, like, what do I have to do to make this work? And right now I think that, as any business would do, if you open a business and something's not working and you want to stay a business, you need to adapt. You need to change. You need to figure out why you're not making the money that you thought you were making, and you need to fix it, right? So that's what I'm doing. I'm treating this like a business, just like anyone should, unless you're just YOLOing some money on the side, like, and you're acting like it's red or black at a casino, that's up to you. Everybody's different, but I like to think that everybody that's here is not doing that. Like, right, we're here to sustain ourselves. We're here to be here in the long run. I'm supposed to remind you to review the instant replay feature. Yes, we will actually do that. I'm not even sure where to find the button. Well, I'll get to that in a second. Let me catch back up in chat. It takes 4 years for most trades, electrician, plumber, HVAC. Thank you, Thomas, for chiming in with this, because I'm going to use that as an example. Won't ever get into the medical field with less than 4 years, but people come to the market and they want it like yesterday. It's so true. That was exactly what I was basically trying to say earlier, Thomas, so thank you for chiming in. Like, take an electrician, for instance. Brand new person, there to be an apprentice, thinks he knows it all. The master electrician is sitting there like, okay, here you go do it. Well, guess what? Now you're looking at all these wires in a huge junction box. You don't have any effing clue what you're really looking at, right? That's like somebody saying they watched one of the guru's videos and they saw him buy here and sell there, right? It was so easy. That was all it took. Electrician, all they do, they just put wires together, put wire nuts on them, splice them together, do all that good stuff. Oh, that's easy, right? Well, when you're the one actually doing it, all of a sudden you now see green, red, yellow, blue, black, white, red, white, black, red. You see all, now that you're looking at the box and you have to do it, it's not as easy as just putting two wires together. Now you need to know which two wires to put together, where they're coming from, where they're going. You need to know all these different things. And guess what? Get one wrong, you could burn the place down, right? That was a perfect example of what I was trying to say, is just because you think you know something from watching somebody else. And a lot of people give the good analogy too of a pro athlete. You can watch pro athletes on TV all the time do what they do. You can watch a guy play basketball, dribbling the ball through his legs, making 3-pointers all day. But guess what? Just because you see how he doesn't mean you can just go outside and do it yourself, right? And a lot of those things, there is emotion involved as well. Because, like, say you're a professional athlete, you're playing in front of a big crowd. Well, guess what? They've been there. They've done that. They've had the experience. Well, guess what? Even if you can go out and drain some 3-pointers and dribble through your legs, now go do it in front of a fully packed stadium. It's a completely different game, with like pressure to win just pressure to play the game in front of a big audience and actually have something on the line, having to win and loss throughout the regular season, or, if it's playoffs, whatever. But that was a very good, I'm not going to give any names, Ishan, but I'm sure you guys can see where I'm going with that. But thank you, Thomas, for chiming in. That was actually a perfect example. I wish I had that instinct. I watch a lot of money going down from my investments and my trading account slowly until almost nothing was left. Yeah, I got you. I watched. So long-term investments could be a little bit different. Let me actually pull up. If you guys remember, I was up like $600 and some dollars, and now I'm actually down $172 or close to that. 71.11 just says it right there. But my positions that I had taken, I'm still fine with. I actually added to them. It was actually really bad timing. If we want to go, let's look at RCL, probably be a good example. Let's go to the 60-minute here. So over here, when we had this huge day, what was the ad? Let me take a look at it real quick, just so I can show you exactly where it was. That's not it. History. Where's the, is it under trade? Yeah, here we go. 2871. So we had the big move up and we came back down, and it kind of felt like we were bottoming out here. And this was Friday, right? Yeah. So Friday, we were going into the weekend, and I just said, I'm going to add to all my positions because we were actually in a good spot. So it was like right here. It looked like we found support again. It looked like it was going to be a higher low in the overall grand scheme of things. Like if we scroll out a little bit, we had our big dip down here, which is where we got our initial positions. So we had the big run up, and as we came back down, it looked like we were finding support. So going into the weekend, I was like, you know what? Just in case this is that support area and we're not going to go lower, I want to add to my position. Because I told myself that I wanted 50% of my positions on the way down, and then I wanted to add to those positions twice on the way up. So I figured, even though I didn't get another add as it went down, because we basically bottomed all of our entries, that I wanted to at least get one closest to the bottom again if we do decide to kind of rally and continue back up. But as you can see, that's not the case. So I'm in 50% of my positions right now, but I can always consider this one of the adds on the way back up because we're looking for this to get obviously way above this position anyway. So now we're holding in hopes, honestly, that this goes under the lows. And as you can see on CCL, that's actually what happened today. We actually went under those lows, but we're going to wait until next week to really kind of see what these things want to do as the more news of people dying and stuff like that comes out from the Roni. So just going to kind of keep it where it's at, and we're going to see if these things, because this looks very weak at the moment. It did kind of find support here at $8, but I don't know if that's like a big investor kind of soaking up some shares. Who knows? But we're going to definitely kind of let these things play out. But there are some of the positions were actually still green. Let me go back to it real quick. And I added in the same exact spot on every single one of these. So Toll Brothers, which is a real estate company, MGM, a casino company, and Dave & Buster's. We all know who Dave & Buster's is. But yeah, Carnival was the big one for a while, but the airlines actually started taking a hit. So the airlines and the cruise lines are the two that really kind of took a hit. And Under Armour, I took Under Armour because I have like a little niche for them. They're Maryland based. That's where I'm from. Kind of was with Under Armour in high school back when they were like just coming up and they were unknown. This was before Ray Lewis kind of took them to the next level. And it was just like everything resonated from Maryland. I've always had a thing for Under Armour. I love their clothes. Their apparel is just amazing. I wear them all the time. I have people that work at Under Armour too. Pretty much half of my baseball team that I play for, they work for Under Armour. So I'm always like getting, gloves and cleats and all kind of our uniforms are all Under Armour. It's just, I have a little humbleness for them, but these guys, they're definitely not looking too hot at the moment, but I definitely am sticking them out because I feel like if we can get through this and sports start back up and all that stuff, once Under Armour starts getting their sales back up, I really feel like they're going to ramp up and stick around. So they have to just survive. And I don't see them going bankrupt. They're obviously no Nike or Adidas or anything like that, but we'll obviously let time take its course. But let me go back to my positions here. If I had to think of which company out of these had the most chances of going bankrupt, I would have to say American Airlines. Just looking at all their fundamentals and just looking at all the debt that these guys have, and then especially just seeing Delta Airlines come out and say they're spending $60 million a day in cash. They're all getting like $12 billion, I think it is, in the stimulus package as kind of a bailout. So I don't know how long it would take for them to really burn through that. But if this lasts for another 2 months where we're not really getting any kind of travel, I don't know. I don't think American Airlines, if you look into them, I think it was like 9 years ago. It was either 9 or 10 years ago. They filed for bankruptcy. They were in Chapter 11 for a little while. They actually came out of it because they merged with another airline, and they got to keep their name. But I remember that because my dad was, he was invested in American. He's like, I'm going to lose my money in American Airlines because they're going bankrupt, blah, blah, blah. But they ended up coming out of it, and they were trading at like 80 cents a share or something while that was happening. So imagine anybody, like if we look at American Airlines, let's see if we can, let's go back and look at it. They were trading so far down. Imagine the risk reward there for like, I wonder, why is it not letting me go back any further? Or maybe they had to come under a different ticker or something. Let me go to weekly. Come on. It's not letting me go back any further. So there must have been something to do where they had to, maybe they went OTC and came back. I don't know exactly, but I remember that story a little for the most part, as far as what happened to them. But yeah, I would say out of all these, and again, I'm diversifying as much as I can. I actually am looking to get back into Southwest, LUV. They made it back down to their lows, and I didn't get a chance to get them at their lows that day that I invested because I didn't have enough money in the account because they only gave me 1,000 in buying power. But we're actually below those lows right now. So I'm actually going to see what they do next week. But as far as the balance sheet goes for all the airlines, I would say LUV has the least amount of debt and the most amount of cash. So the odds of them going bankrupt, as you can see, they didn't drop as far as the other ones because of that, right? People understand that they're probably not going to go bankrupt. So once everything comes back into fruition and, they start making money again, I would think Southwest is going to recover quite nicely. Not saying they're going to go right to their highs or anything like that, but I definitely think you're going to get, at least that 45, 50 area pretty quickly. So I'm definitely looking to get some money into LUV next week, as long as we, maybe go down a little bit lower. I'm definitely interested in them. And another one I was actually interested in was Uber. I really think they still have a lot of room back up as well. They were up near 42 around the highs, and man, they dropped all the way down to 13. But even so, they're still at 22. But Uber is part of the future, like with the automation, just delivery services, like all the different things that they offer. They're definitely going to rebound nicely, and I think they're going to be one of those companies that eventually is up in like the hundreds and stuff. So I'm actually going to look into. I think Uber and LUV are the two that I'm going to make my third and my 9th and 10th stock in my little 10 stock portfolio that I'm making here. And we'll kind of go from there with those two. And the reason I'm choosing them, I mean, you also have ones like Facebook, you have Tesla, you have all these. I mean, think of how many people, when Tesla was up here almost at $1,000, that they were saying, oh man, if Tesla ever got back down below $500, I would buy. Well, as it was making this move down, how many people you think that were saying that up here actually bought the stock, right? And now we're back up where we were over 500. Now we're back down to 475. But when it was coming down like this, they're like, maybe I'll wait until it's under 300 now, right? It's kind of funny. But the reason I can't buy these stocks is because I just don't have enough money. I could barely buy it. I'm putting $125 lots into each of these positions. So without $500 total into each one of my 10 positions, which equals $5,000. So I wouldn't even be able to buy one share, and it wouldn't make any sense. I mean, this thing can go up from 360 all the way to, what would that be, 720, and I'm only doubling my money. So I would literally get, with one share at that point, it's just not worth the time. But that's the kind of crappy part. It's kind of why they say the rich get richer, you need money to make money, all those good things, because it is true in a sense. When you have these big sell-offs, it's like, that a company like Facebook is a huge one, because Facebook has more money than most companies will ever have, and they just have it laying around. And if you really think about Facebook, the only operational cost that they really have is paying their employees, right? So they don't have like planes that need to be maintained. They don't have these giant cruise ships that need to be maintained. They're a tech stock, right? And so their costs are not going to be that much throughout all of this. And if anything, Facebook, I'm surprised Facebook hasn't or dropped as much as it did because of, Facebook isn't going anywhere during this. If anything, more people are on Facebook because of it. So yeah. Anyways, all right, let me try to catch up on chat. Looks like I may have fell a little bit behind here. I just flew in Delta. They were shit anyway. Yeah, no, I don't agree, or I don't disagree with you there. But I'm looking at risk versus reward on all these stocks. I mean, these guys were up at 62 near its highs, and they dropped all the way down to 19. It was crazy. I mean, I think our first entry on them was like $20 and something. I mean, we did really well. We got all of our first entries on this day here on the 18th. It was a pretty good day. The market was crashing at the open on the 18th, and I just remember saying, this is just going a little too far, too crazy. Let's see. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was on the 23rd. Where's the 23rd? Oh, this is a daily chart. Oh, that's right, because everything dipped like way down there, but then the SPY went lower. 23rd, yeah. So when the SPY made those moves, so some of these stocks weren't at the specific lows. The 18th, as you can see on the SPY, when a lot of those stocks hit their bottoms. But on the 23rd is when the SPY made that move. And that when the SPY was literally at 218, I think it was at like 219 when we started entering all those positions on the 23rd. Because as you can see, they were in like the morning, 9:40, 9:30. It was like right after the bell. I couldn't find anything to play on the short side, believe it or not, because everything was kind of popping off the bottom and everything was on SSR. And that was back when I was like, am I playing SSR? Am I not playing SSR? So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go start my positions that I know I want to take anyway, because we're at some pretty rock bottom prices here. So that was what we did there. Yeah, bigger pockets. They're really good with the real estate stuff. Eating like a bird and pooping like an elephant. Hey, man, how long have you been trading? About a year and a half now. August will be 2 years. It's like August 28th. It was like the end of August. Yeah. Yeah, but I think doing business, he was asking it with a much different tone. Adley was kind of being a jerk. Adley was trying to be like, oh, you've already been trading for a year and a half and you're still not making money. Well, guess what? There's people that never make money in the market. There's people that have been trading for 3+ years that still are not making money. So get at me. I mean, I'm not really making money. I would consider myself a break-even trader at this point, but hopefully this new little system works out and maybe we'll be making money. Yeah, let me catch up. I don't want to jump ahead. I added to AAL at a dumb time. I mean, well, like I said, we all did, I did. Like I said, it was on the 30th, which was Friday, or 31st. When were those ads? Yeah, they were on the 30th. Wasn't that a Friday, I thought? No, it was on a Monday. Maybe I said I was going to wait to see what they did over the weekend, and then when we came back, I was like, okay, this week it actually looks like we put the bottom in there. Yeah, I guess that would make sense. I was actually trying to trade, I think, then, but as you can see, it was right here on the 30th. So it was right before we decided to absolutely tank. So our first entries were in this area here, and then we got the huge pop-up, big pullback. It looked like we were making a higher low, and then we were absolutely wrong. Now we're way down there. But yeah, the airlines are getting hit with some really like bad numbers, and now they're talking about earnings and stuff like that. So I am looking to add to these positions, but I didn't want to do it today because these things could clearly continue down further. So we'll see what they do. And like I said, American Airlines has a history where they might just file for bankruptcy, but we shall see. The best stock to buy right now is healthcare stocks. I mean, you say that, like they could be running because of everything going on, but they're going to be hard to sustain. But no, I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you at all. Toll Brothers have amazing homes. One of my family members just bought a home from them. Yeah, Toll Brothers, I've seen their homes in person, and that was one of the things. I would consider them to be one of the biggest home builders in the country. So that was that's what attracted me to them. And then their fundamentals they're just amazing. I believe, I don't know if I've showed you guys my actual Excel sheet before. It's nothing. It's basically a notepad and an Excel sheet. But when I was coming up with the stocks I wanted to trade, I came up with, I looked at their net income average per year, which was over the course of the last 4 years, because that was what Yahoo Finance showed me, how much cash they had on hand, and I just like looking at their market cap. It just kind of gives you a gauge of how big the company is. So with Toll Brothers, they were bringing in $600 million a year. Look at the cash they have on hand. $1.28 billion. That's pretty crazy. It's a lot. And when you start looking at some of the other companies, like look at someone like Royal Caribbean, where they're bringing in $1.6 billion a year in net income, but they only have $243 million cash on hand. That's pretty crazy. And the reason I really wanted to take some LVS, Las Vegas Sands, because these guys, I don't see how they could possibly go out of business, right? They were bringing in $2.5 billion a year. They have $4.2 billion on hand, and they have $33 billion market cap. But the problem is they were just too expensive. Like if we take a look at LVS, they're just priced a little bit too high. And believe it or not, I mean, Southwest is kind of the same way, but I like Southwest a little bit better in the long term. I don't think someone like Sands, I think they're a little too diversified, where if they would have kind of stuck with their bread and butter as a company, they could have made a little bit more money if they focused. But as you can see, they're a little choppy anyways. So who knows? Who knows? They did come down quite a bit, but when I was looking at them, I just figured someone like Southwest, who is a little bit cheaper, I just like the idea of them a little bit better. But yeah, those were the main things I was looking at. And then you look at someone like American Airlines, they're bringing in $2 billion a year, and they have $3.8 billion on hand apparently, but apparently they're going through 60 million of that a day. That's insane. But as you can see, I really looked into the fundamentals of the companies that I chose. I was looking for ones that I felt like they just can't fail. Obviously, any company can fail, but I was looking for ones that just had good structure, good cores, and putting myself in a position where I feel like these companies have the least possibility of going under. So, and as you can see, Carnival, they were bringing in $3 billion a year, but they only had 500 mil on hand. And obviously we know that, Trump was making a big deal that if you're not registered in the US, you're not getting any bailout money and all that good stuff. So that really kind of hurt them. And, we'll see what happens. I don't think Carnival's going to go out of business. Or bankrupt. Same thing. But, anything's possible, right? And then here's a couple that I didn't choose. Norwegian Cruise Line. They're just a smaller company, right? If they're burning through the same kind of money to stay afloat like a Carnival and stuff, and they just don't have that kind of money, they could be in trouble. Caesars, I don't know what it was, but their average net income over the last 4 years, they were losing $1.2 billion. Crazy. I don't know if they're expanding. I don't know what entailed into that. I didn't even look into it. But when I saw that number, I was just like, I just can't do it. And they have 1.75 billion on hand, but I was just like, I can't do it. Just can't do it. And then the other one was Wynn. They were just a little too expensive. And then someone like Spirit was another airline. I just couldn't do it with them either. I hate them as a company. I've flown through them like twice, and both times I fully regretted it. So I can see something like Spirit Airlines just, going out of business and nobody even really, flinching an eye except for the people that fly those crazy red eyes. Cause I don't know, the people that are looking to save a buck, it's literally why their ticker is SAVE, is like, that's the only way you should ever fly them, is if you're really in need of saving $1 and you have to fly. That's the only way you should ever fly Spirit. But yeah. Disney is just too expensive for me personally. Again, it kind of like when I was talking about Tesla, if I'm allocating $125 per installment that I'm looking to get in, I would only be able to buy like one share at a time. So it just really didn't make sense to me. But yeah, Disney isn't going anywhere. If you go look at the fundamentals, I don't know what they are, but I'm sure they're stellar. It's Disney. How can Disney ever go out? They just opened Disney Plus. So I don't even understand how they fell as much as they did, because now they do have Disney Plus, and that came out before this. So people are at home, wanting to do something. I'm sure their signups for Disney Plus have been pretty awesome right now. Obviously, shutting down their theme parks, they're going to lose way more than they're going to get from something like Disney Plus. But at the same time, they have other, revenue streams that they can, at least bring some kind of money in during all this. I'm sure it's absolutely maybe like 2% of what they would make from their parks, maybe even not even that. But what I'm getting at is Disney is very diversified, and can you really imagine a world without Disney? Like, seriously, there's just no way. I think Warren Buffett just sold his Delta Airlines position for a $300 million loss. Yeah, I read that too, and I think a lot of that has to do with. I don't think it was all of his position, by the way. I think it was just some of it. He's still holding some of it. I want to correct you there, because I'm pretty sure I read that he still holds a decent amount of it. I think that's really him just looking to sell at a higher price and buy down at a lower price. I really think that he feels the price is going to drop to where he can take that $300 million or whatever he took out of the position and put it back in at a better price. I really think that's all he's doing right now. 35 viewers equals another April Fool's giveaway. Nope. 35 viewers. I'm going to actually do a giveaway. I'm going to give away 2 of these guys. That was the plan, but we're getting up there. We're over halfway. We just need to get 35. That's all we need. We're up to 19. We just need 16 more. I'm trying to do math in my head. America as a country will fail if Trump can't stop Putin and OPEC. I don't even pay attention to that stuff. I mean, there's nothing I can do about it. So, and he's in control. It's not like I can call him up on the phone and be like, hey man, you're making a mistake. It is what it is. Boeing, if it gets back down to 89. Yeah, I mean, Boeing is another one of these. I don't understand how. This is one I would be throwing money at if I had it. If I had lots and lots and lots of money, I'd be throwing it at Boeing. There's one thing. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Their company, a lot of people know them for their aircrafts, right? They are not just aircrafts. I don't even know where this would be. But look at this. Commercial, defense, space. Let me see. I don't even know where it would be. Let's see if they have like a grid of... So this is kind of what I was looking for. So they're Boeing commercial airplanes. That's kind of what everyone knows Boeing for. But they also are in defense, space, and security, global services, like organization stuff. I remember seeing, is it under, or is this just going to take me down there? Yeah. Maybe it's services. I remember seeing like a grid of like everything that they do, but they do a lot more. Like they're a lot of stuff to do with military, like just the helicopters, like all the stuff they do for military space. Like they do more than just make commercial aircrafts, and they're not going anywhere. Even with their 737 crap shoot that they went through recently, they're not going anywhere. So Boeing is definitely one of those companies that I feel will not only retrace back towards its highs, but I feel like they're going to be one of them stocks that just keep climbing over the years. They're too important. They are one of those companies that they're too big to fail, and they do too much for the country that I just can't see the United States letting Boeing fail as a company. It's just not going to happen. Dare I say it, 15 likes? We're at 11. There's 20 of us here, so we should be able to get over 15. I'm exactly the same as you. August would make 2 years for me, still not profitable just yet. Yeah, and dude, it's not a sprint. If you don't need this money, take as long as you need, right? Take as long as you need. It's a marathon, not a sprint. It's not a sprint, guys. It's not a get-rich-quick thing. If you can last 5 years without making money in the market, that's 5 years of experience that you have in the market that some people can't even get through 5 months. So just keep that in mind. You're going to start to see things I can tell you, I'll go back and watch some of my first videos that I made, and things that I see now that I didn't see back in February of last year. So not even when I first started trading. It's mind-boggling. The things that I'm watching in those videos of me trading live, I'm like, why was I doing that and not this? Like, what, like there's so many things that I was missing that I thought I already knew. And I had only been trading for like 5 months then. I thought I knew what I didn't, right? So you really experience. It's all about experience. It's about seeing these charts. It's just, there's so much that people don't understand when it comes to the market, that if they just slowed down and weren't worried about making money so much. And that's why I always say risk management is key. And honestly, using money that you're not afraid to lose is a big one. And that was something I knew from poker, but unfortunately I'm just in a situation where I can't do that. I mean, if I were to lose the money that I have in the market right now, it's not going to make or break me or my family. And you should never put yourself in that position. You should never be, going all in per se in something like the market. The market will eat you alive. It will sense the blood in the water, and it will take your money. And that's why you need to just kind of ease into it. You really need to learn the market before you can really kind of start making the real money, right? You can probably make $100, $200 a day here and there, take a couple, big losses, whatever, you can survive. But if you're looking to like really dive in and make the big money, you have to be around for a while. You have to understand the emotions behind the trading. You have to understand, the ins and the outs. You have to have put yourself in every single position that you could possibly be in to understand, because all it takes is that one trade, right? How many times throughout this big, like if we look at the SPY again real quick, all of these companies, these hedge funds, all these traders that have been around for 20 years, how many of them went broke? You see, I've been seeing the articles on Twitter nonstop of there's hedge funds that have went broke. And they're full of experienced traders. There's traders that have been around for 20 years because they just kept, on this big move down here, they just kept adding to their position, adding to the position, adding to the position, just waiting for it to come back up. Then none of them wanted to believe that this move was possible, and they all just went broke. All it takes is one trade, guys. One trade with improper risk management throughout their 20 years of trading. Like, I remember reading this one article, this guy, it was 20 years he was trading, and he got away with it forever. He just kept getting away with it. Add until it came back. He was able to withstand all of the red number until it finally decided to come back the other way. He would just keep adding to his position until it finally reversed. And when it reversed, he would make a good amount of money. But guess what? This time it never reversed. It just kept on going, right? It just kept on going. And he never took any of the position off, and he went broke, right? Because we didn't get the bounce. It's just, all it takes is one trade. So if you have improper risk management or no risk management at all, you can get away with it for a very long time. But eventually it's going to catch up with you. BRK.A. What the heck is that? Is that that's Warren Buffett's thing, isn't it? Berkshire Hathaway or whatever. I don't know if I know that's the name of it, but I don't know if this is his I don't know if that's the ticker or whatever. Some crazy expensive. I hope cruise line don't love cruise ships. I don't know what you mean there. Why 35, not 69? Well, because I can't even get to 35. If we hit 35, that number will go up. But as you can see, we're not even going to get to 35. Hey, bro, hope you're doing well. What's up, Brad? How you doing, man? Fellow Marylander. Boeing also sells luxury planes to wealthy people. Yeah, that's what I said. They sell like pretty much anything that flies, they sell. Yeah, but if you lose this $5,000 account, it will crush your spirit. Well, yeah, it's going to crush my spirit. But at the same time, I do have other sources of income. Like I umpire, I do other stuff, like around the neighborhood. Like believe it or not, there's like, I don't ever advertise it. It's usually just word of mouth type stuff, but I have a pressure washer that I bought, for myself. It was like a $400 pressure washer. It's really nice. And one guy saw me doing it, and he was like, "Hey man, I know those companies charge like $200 to pressure wash." He was like, "I'll give you $150." He was like, "You want to do my house?" And I was like, "All right, why not?" And then he, I guess, told somebody, because they called me up and said, "Hey, your neighbor told me that you pressure wash." And he was like, "You have a good price." And he said, "You did a really good job." And I was just like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Well, how big's your house?" And he had an actual single family house, and it was pretty big. And I have a nice 20-foot ladder that can pretty much get up to anywhere on most houses. And I use it to get up on the roof to put up Christmas lights and stuff. But he was like, "Well, I can't get a quote less than $450. And I was like, "Yeah, well," and I actually told him, I was like, "Well, I'll do it for $350." And he was like, I got $300 in cash." He was like, "Can you do that?" And I was like, "That's fine, whatever." Because the first thing that popped in my head, the reason I said $350, I was like, well, now I will have paid for the pressure washer. I only did work for 2 other people, and this thing paid for itself, and I had the thing less than a year. And my dad uses it all the time too, and he's lucky that I don't like charge him for it. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I ended up paying for the thing, and now I've actually done, I want to say it was like 4 or 5. I think it was 4, maybe 4 other houses. Some small, some big, but I basically just undercut whatever the people were, and it's just all word of mouth from those 2 guys. And I guess people just randomly talked about pressure washing with them, and they were like, "Yeah, I know a guy," and I apparently was the guy. So yeah, I usually try. I mean, for him, I gave him a little bit of a deal just because I was happy to pay for the pressure washer itself. But since then, if I do ever get that call, I usually just say whatever they're charging, I'll do it for 50 less. And I do the same. I probably do a better job than those guys because I actually pay attention and make sure I get everything. And I actually bought a nice little brush, but I use the same chemical for pretty much everything, and the stuff lasts. It's like I use a 5-gallon bucket in this chemical, and just it'll last me for years. But it's like I said, I have other means of income, and on top of that, if I ever were to busto in the market, I probably would go find a real job. The wife, is kind of pressuring me at this point, like, "Hey, she's being Addedly." I wonder if Addedly is actually my wife upstairs. Wouldn't that be ironic? But she's starting to be like, "Okay, how long is this going to take? Like, are you, you said that you're actually going to, bring in some money doing this stuff." And so I'm feeling the pressure from that a little bit. But again, I don't see myself going broke. I can't really go broke how I'm trading right now because on any given trade, I'm actually only risking, I don't even know the math of this. Let me pull it up. I'm only risking 0.002 of my account per trade. So $5,000 account, I'm risking $10 each trade. I'm risking next to nothing of my account. I would have to lose 5 trades in one day just to risk 1% of my account. So obviously I'm going to start scaling this up. I just wanted to really get a good sample size before I do. But at the same time, even before that, I was being very risk adverse with the 112. I was risking $35 a trade, but I was only making like, on average, when I looked back at the stats, I was only making on average like $4 a trade. It made no sense because I was only getting 25% of my position in most cases. So I really want to figure, I'm working on figuring this out, but at the same time, risk management is very key to me. So I don't really see me blowing up. Unless I, for some reason, just decide to go YOLO one day and I like completely tilt out or something. But I don't see that happening. I'm pretty disciplined, and I think you guys have seen that so far. The pressure washer guy with balls in his mouth. So true. Yeah, like GDT just said, and I said it earlier, when I really figure this out, I might just add a 0, right? Because the only reason I'm as small as I am, anytime you're changing something, I always recommend going to paper, like paper trade, demo account, whatever. I personally, when I've done that in the past, I realized that I become a completely different trader. I'm emotionless, right? If you could cut the emotions out of your trading, you would be how many times have you heard somebody say, "I wish I could do in my real account what I do on my paper trading account. I can never lose in my paper trading account. Why can't I do that on my real account? It's your emotions. It's literally that simple. That's all there is. That's the only difference between the two. You're adding the emotion of the fact that you're using real money instead of play money, right? It's paper money. It's not real. You know that every time you hit the button, you can't lose, right? You can lose the trade, but you don't lose real money. So you just put yourself in a position where you're making good entries because you know that that's a good entry based on the strategy, not because of the emotions behind it. Always keep that in mind. And buy yourself a heart attack. It could, yeah. But it's true. Like I said earlier, guys, if you can make $10 every single day, you can make $100 every single day. You can make $200 every single day. You can make $300. All it is just changing the share size. You're making the same exact trades. And until you start getting, until you start getting up to where you're trying to make over like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a day, you don't have to worry about anything. As long as you're trading stocks that have volume, like decent volume, your share size is nothing. You're not moving that stock with your 1,000 shares, 2,000 shares, 3,000, 5,000 shares. You're not moving that stock. You're just jumping in with the crowd, really. The only way, unless you are trading like a very illiquid stock that, there's only, maybe 40,000 shares going through every couple minutes or whatever, maybe then you're going to maybe like influence the price just a little bit when you try to jump in with 5,000 shares. That's when you might have to start to try to change your order entry a little bit if you try to do that. But if you're trading these stocks that have tons of volume, like I am any given day, I could be trading 5 shares or I could be trading 5,000 shares, and it's most likely not going to make a difference to what that stock does. Just letting you guys know that. Yep. And GDT, it's exactly what I just said. Caden says, thoughts on Oliver Velez. I keep thinking he's trading with a paper account based off his share size and how easily he gets filled. Also, have you checked out Dan at TrueTrader? At TrueTrader. He trades similar to you and GDT, but with gigantic shares and makes like 10K profits on trades, but yet never moves the stock. Makes me wonder. Dan at TrueTrader. I feel like I've heard of him. Hold on. Isn't True Trading Group? I thought that was Mike. Isn't Mike? That's what I was thinking of. Or is that a different person? You'll have to let me know who that is. But Oliver Velez, the way he has things set up, he has it set up just like TradeNet. So I'll just leave it at that. So yes, if you go back and watch a lot of his older videos, his starting balance every single day is the same. So I'm almost 100% positive that he's not trading with real money. And if you go look at how his website is structured, it's literally basically the same thing as TradeNet. So take that for what it's worth. I never became profitable trading. After 6 months, I quit altogether. Well, quitting is not how you become profitable, but if trading is not for everybody, just like certain professions just aren't for everybody. Some people just aren't going to have it. So unfortunately, Justin, if you are someone that just, it's not made for, like, it's going to happen. Like, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you that anybody can come in here and just trade and like become a profitable trader. Like there's going to be people that come in here and have a passion for this, and they're just not going to be able to be successful. Like, it's just how it is. Like, trust me, how many people you think grew up, like, all they wanted to do was be a professional baseball player, football player, soccer player, whatever. And they realized they didn't have the skill set. Maybe they wanted to be a doctor, an astronaut, whatever it may be, and they just didn't have the skill set for it. So you always have to keep that in mind. Just because you want to be something with all of your might doesn't mean it can actually happen. Yeah, again, if trading isn't it, there's tons of other things. The market's it's a very cool place. It can be very profitable, and I have a huge passion for it, and I really think that I can figure it out. So that's why I'm still here. Will I be here in 10 years? I don't know. We'll find out. Tons of other side hustles and ways to make more money. You just got to find the right. Exactly. Well, Justin, I have to ask you though, why are you here? You said you quit altogether, but yet you're here watching a live stream about the stock market. Ecom dropshipping. Yeah, it sounds like you fell into the hands of one of the other gurus that I don't like. I wanted to be a professional porn star. Well, Zishan, I'm not going to say you didn't have the skills to be equipped, but I'm starting to think maybe you just didn't have the right equipment. Are market makers privileged to how many shorts are being shorted versus true selling from the profits? You know, GDT says market makers know everything always. I personally, I don't know how much market makers can influence movement on a stock. But what I do know, like let's take a look at like LYV here for a sec. Come on. At least let me change my chart. There we go. So on that big dip, come on, get out of here. Let me scroll over. Oh, I'm on the daily. I was like, why is it not working? Okay. So on something like LYV here, if you're a market maker, what I do know is as this price is coming down, say there's absolutely no liquidity at 29 or like 28.80, but there's a ton of people wanting to buy at 28.80. As a market maker, their job is to provide liquidity. This is my understanding of this. Feel free to jump in and completely tell me I'm wrong and tell me what they actually do. But from my understanding of what a market maker is their job is to basically provide liquidity to the market. So if this stock is moving down like it is, and there's just absolutely no liquidity at a certain price point, and it's creating a huge imbalance, their job is to step in and create that balance, right? So from my understanding, they basically can make a stock move whichever way they want. If they see a stock tanking like this, they could basically be slow to the trigger and just let it do what it wants, right? Now, keep in mind, by providing liquidity, what that means is they're basically buying and selling shares all day. So say they had to provide a ton of liquidity up here in this like $32 area. So say they have like 100,000 shares at 32, and this thing just starts to tank, right? Well, the odds are they're going to have a high interest in adding some liquidity down in here and looking to move the stock back up so that they can get rid of their shares that they're, providing at a much higher price. So when you have these big moves like this, obviously we don't know when the market maker has a little amount of shares or a lot of shares or anything like that. But we do know that they will be highly influenced to try to help move that ticker in a certain direction based on what they can and cannot do, I guess, at any given time to really make sure that they make money on their shares. So again, I don't know how it all works. I think market makers, that it's something I've actually spent weeks researching in the past, and you really can't find a lot of information on them and how they actually work. I'm sure it's one of the hidden things that no one is really supposed to know anything about. I personally would love to know how, I would love to go sit behind a market maker and watch them work, right? Just to know how they do what they do, because I'm sure it would give you a whole new insight to everything. But unfortunately, I don't think that's available. Yeah, GDT's right. They don't care about us at all. Like they're more so worried about, and like I said, they have a job too of providing liquidity. They're not just going to provide liquidity and not make money on it, right? Their job is still to make money for the market itself, right? That's the market's here to take your money. So that's pretty much what they're trying to do. No, I did not do the replay function. So real quick, If you guys want to do the replay feature on CMEG, it is not available yet. But how you would do it is you would go up here to File, Data Stream Mode. You would change the quote mode to replay, hit apply, and as you can see, we can't connect to it here. It would actually pop up with a different error, but right now the day's switching over, so we don't have access anyway. But that's how you would do it. So let me go into, now that this has lost its luster, let me open up what I did is I went over to Dosh Trader themselves, and hold on. So I went over to let me just open up one of mine. Oh, go away. Oh, wrong one. I go through a lot of setups. What's this? Okay, that's right. So bring this over, File, Data Stream Mode, go to Replay, Apply. Are you sure you want to switch to Replay Quote Mode? And it's $100, by the way, for a month. So if you want to go check it out on DOS's website, you can. And then what you would do is you would put the symbol in, like let's say LYV from today, download, and then now we can literally play LYV. So let's go to LYV. Our trade was at 10:30. And just to show you, like you can use this little scroll bar to go back and forth to find a specific area. And as you can see, there was the move on LYV. Let's go 10, 20. You can speed it up and slow it down right here. You can actually hit the go to button and you can go to an exact time. You can stop. If you hit stop, it'll clear the stock. If you hit load, you can go back to these are some of the ones I've already done. And yeah, it's pretty simple. But as you can see, here was the move on LYV. Let's actually go back a little bit here. There we go. And kind of, we can like watch this happen. So again, this is from today. You can literally go in and do this. It's pretty nice. I have to reset all these other charts every once in a while, but because I remember looking at the 60 minutes saying if we get under here, we still have some pretty solid support. But I was really looking just for this to make that dive down there towards 29. Let's see if I can like kind of replicate my trade, and then I can speed it up for you guys a little bit. Or you can see how whippy it is. The only thing, you can actually pay to get the level 2 if you want it, but it doesn't come with just the $100 one. I think it would be a little bit more if you wanted that. So this is about when we pulled it up, and we were just looking for that little bit more of a push down towards 29. And so we had our finger here on the $2 bid. We were looking for it to get down towards 29. I think it kind of stops here for a second. And this is when we were like, okay, just one more little push. And then it shoots down there towards 29, and that was when we jump in. And the only other thing too is that you can't right now, it's something that DOS doesn't have right now. But they're looking into it apparently, is you can't use stop orders. So right there, we actually got the exact entry. So you'll see that my bracket orders didn't come back in, but you can put a take profit in there, which was $29.98. I'll put the order out there, and that's basically what it looked like. And we had a stop at 28.35, which you'll see it actually almost gets hit. But yeah, I mean, this is how the replay feature works. Drop shipping, best way to make money, my friend. Made 25K. Keep going, don't stop. Yeah, isn't drop shipping has a lot to do with I'm gonna speed this up to 4x, by the way, because it does take a second for it to get up there. And that's the other thing too. When you have a strategy where you basically put a stop and a take profit into place, after you enter the trade, you can literally just speed the thing up to like 32x and just kind of like let it play its course and see if you would have like won the trade or not. But yeah, drop shipping, I feel like it's like store based, right? So you kind of have to work a little bit more. You have to kind of sell, You have to like find good deals and all that good stuff. Like Alibaba, I think, is like one of the main things that people use for drop shipping. I've never really looked into it myself. GDT, if they see someone short an extended move with 20K shares, would they think, oh, no, you don't, and squeeze it up further to try and get you to cover? Yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I would love to watch a market maker in action, but I have a feeling that'll never happen. I mean, GDT, maybe you know more about it than I do. I'll have to message you and see if you can give me a lesson on market makers. But isn't the replay extra charge? Yes. Yeah. It's $100 right now, and you get the level 1. But I don't ever need anything more than that because I'm just looking for extended moves anyway. And the cool thing about this is you can literally go back and like just go on the ISW site, and you can look at all the top gainers and top losers for the day and at the times they were alerted. And you can trade based off of that. You can go back off of like what I did, where you would have previous trades that you've already taken. So you know the setups are there, and then you can retrade them. And then there you go. We got our fill. Did it give us 30 on this too? No, it actually gave us 98. And there's so many different ways that you can use this to your advantage. But what I've been doing is for the last 2 days is just every night before bed, I've been taking like 5 to 10 trades going back into the past. And I've just been retrading them. I'll look at the times, and you're only cheating yourself if you don't do this correctly, by the way, because you can look at like when you entered, specifically like price point. You can look at the chart to see where it goes, and to me that kind of takes it out of it. But if you go back far enough, you're not going to remember those things, right? Because you take so many trades. So what I'll do is I'll purposely make sure that I only look at the time of when I entered the trade, and that way I'll just have the area. And I'll go back like a couple minutes so that I can watch the trade happen, but I don't know exactly what the price was, and I don't look at the clock as it's happening. I just focus on the chart. And so I will see if I basically am going back with the new entry method that I'm using versus the old 112, and then I end up comparing the two at the end, seeing if one worked, which one would have made more money, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what I've been doing to back. It's basically a live way of back testing. You're not just using charts in hindsight. You can actually go back and trade them yourself with this replay. It's amazing. And to me, it's amazing because I can actually use all of my hotkeys. I can use the same chart setup. I can use everything the same. And it's really nice because it all just transfers because it's all DOS. CMEG doesn't have the feature right now, and you don't have to open up a new broker like Zishan said. It's literally just DOS demo. Like they give you the link to download in an email, and it's literally DOS. It's the same thing. You just use the account they give you. It's not a new broker. You don't have to put money into it or anything. You literally just pay them $100, and that's that. They give you the account for a month. CMEG doesn't blow through my stops anymore because I don't use limit orders, but I do get some pretty bad slippage sometimes. It's kind of annoying because sometimes you'll see that, like, say I'll have a stop at 29.98. Well, it'll go through that through 30 and say sometimes I'll get a fill at like 30.07 or something like that. And on the level 2, you'll see the ask went to 30 and sat there, and you can see the orders going through at 30 to get through 30, but I don't get any fill on the ask until the bid hits my order. So if the bid was at like 29.90 while those $30 orders were going through, and then the ask jumps to 30.07, and that's when the bid finally hits 29.98, that's when I would get filled on the ask for 30.07. I know it's because I have smaller share size. Pretty much if you use share size under 100, you don't really get thrown out there to any of the good routes to the market. So you're really kind of screwing yourself. So until I get over that 100 share mark with my orders, I'm just going to have to deal with it. It's just kind of just part of the game. So I'm accepting of that. It just sucks that it happens, but yeah. All you need to do is open a Shopify account and import products from AliExpress, not Alibaba, and use SEO or Facebook ads to get the sales. Yeah, there's a guy on YouTube. He's really young. I've seen him do exactly that. I don't, like I said, I've never really looked into it, but he did make it seem fairly easy. But he also has like an established Instagram account and like other things to advertise on. And yeah, that was kind of what he was doing. And he was just showing you that it's very profitable. There's more to it, but that's just the balls part. Haha, get it, balls part instead of ballpark. See what I did there? Yes, I do see what you did there. Zishan, you should message me in Discord and teach me all about drop shipping. Maybe it's something I'll look into as a little side hustle to get the wife off of me in my extra time. Gifford, are you using market orders for your stops? Only time I have seen them blow through is, yeah, that's what I had said too. Yeah, I don't use limit orders anymore, so I always get stopped out with my stop orders, but sometimes I get the slippage. Are we at 15? I actually got rid of, oh, no, we're still not at 15. We're still at 20 viewers though, 19 at the moment. Got you, Mr. Gifford. Yeah. Can you look up WMT stock? Like on a certain day or just current day? Yeah, Zishan, I'd like that Discord chat too on drop shipping. Zishan, message me, and then I can message Mr. or I can bring Mr. Gifford into the chat. What is your Discord name, Mr. Gifford? I haven't talked to you on there in a while. That's right. That's right. I knew it was something crazy because I remember you changed it. But yeah, when Zishan messaged me, I can bring you into the chat. Maybe we can all have a drop ship course from Zishan. Let me find you, Zishan, real quick. There you are. Let's see. Add. Oh, wait, can I only add friends? I don't know. Add. I might have to add you as a friend. Can you not have multiple people in a DM without being friends with one of them? It doesn't make any sense. It's kind of weird. I'll figure it out in a sec. Let's finish up the stream because I am getting ready to get out of here anyways. At least off the stream. But what current day? All right, let me get out of this. WMT. Oh, Walmart. Give me 1 sec. I'm gonna try to go hawk up a loogie. Very unsuccessful at the loogie. So what about Walmart? What are we looking for? We are up to 20. Aaron, I've actually had, I want to say like 28 before, which is why I set the bar at 35 because I wanted to get up over 30. I don't think we've ever had over 30, but it's weird. The channel kind of goes through its ups and downs. It seems like people kind of come and they go for the most part. So it is what it is. Okay. Just making sure we're in frame here. So what's up at Walmart? They seem to still be doing just fine, which I would expect because they're still open and they get a lot of business. Oh, gotcha. Well, this is the daily, so let me go to like the 1 hour. I really love the 1 hour chart now. I don't know. It's like you can, it's almost like the daily, but you really kind of see some of those intraday levels. Cause let me find an example. Like, I guess like this day would be good. So let's see, what day is this? The 9th. So if we go to the daily and we look at, where's the 9th? Right here. So you see this candle, all you see is that it had huge range, had a pretty decent down day, but it finished above where it closed. And you can also tell that it went up and made a high and also retraced that a little bit too, which is probably at the end of the day. But if you go to the hourly, you can see that back here on the 9th, come on, you can actually see the story, right? You can see what happened. And it also, you can see that it had some pretty key levels as well. And then you start to see that those levels kind of line up. Oops. What is going on? Escape. I'm still learning Weeble stuff here. So you can start to kind of see these lines on the hourly, where I wonder if I go to the daily, if that line will stay there. Yeah, it does. So on the daily, you don't really see that line, right? You would see all these kind of other lines up here. But if you go to the hourly, you can kind of pick out some more key areas that you wouldn't normally see just by looking at the daily, which is if you go to my setup, you'll see that I've been trading with the 60-minute next to the 1 day, because that way I get like an overall big picture, but then I get like that little bit of a finer tuned things that I may have missed on the 60-minute, which I just really like it. Your only cost are the ads, I think. Oh, the drop shipping. Gotcha. Falling like the stock market, I guess. Oh, I just wanted to see the chart. Looks like, yeah, so I must have skipped those 2 messages. But so I'll stick around here for another 2 minutes, 12:25. We'll shoot for that unless you guys have questions, and then we'll obviously keep going. But if there are no other questions, I appreciate you guys stopping by, seriously. Don't forget to like. If you're new here, name's Tim, Volatility Trading. Please subscribe. Always appreciate the support. I like to think that we're putting out some good content. Truthful, transparent, as always. And yeah, I have nothing else to really go over. Hopefully I showed you what we're looking at moving forward as far as my trades go. Feel free to stop by every single morning. 9:25 to 10:30 is when I stream every morning. From day one, guys, haven't hid a single thing from you guys. I know that the P&L is not on the screen right now while I'm trading, but I was just trying to, I feel like it's more important for you guys to see the chart. If any given day you're watching, you want to see it at any given time, I'm going to show it to you. It's again, I'm never hiding anything from you guys. So I just want you guys to know that you can always come to my channel and be told the truth. It's something that in this industry you don't really get a lot of. You always get people trying to con other people out of their money. And, you know, that's not what we're here for. We're here to make money off the market. I'm not here to make money off of you guys. So obviously I am affiliated with other things if you want to help support the channel. If you were to use CMEG, you can use my code down below. If you are to use Intensity Stock Watch, you can use my code down below. Use the link down there. Also, the journal that I use over at, excuse me, over at TraderSync, there's a link down below as well. I do need to get the code for the 20% off there as well. I do have that. I still haven't put it in the description. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting. It's been so chaotic around the house lately. But yeah, that's how you can support the channel if you want to. Obviously, just hitting the like and subscribe button is support enough for me. Obviously, the donation link's down there too if you ever want to feel super generous. But yeah, that's all I have for you today. So let's see if we got a question here. Nice. Hey, Tim, was great as usual. We're going to head out now. Yes, Mr. Gifford. See you Monday morning. Well, mostly good except for the loogie. I didn't even get it out, so it kind of sucked. Thanks, Tim. You and GDT put out great content. Yeah, we appreciate that. Appreciate that. Have a good night. Cadence Kid. Aaron, thanks, Tim. Have a good night. And let's hope for a green on Monday. Yes, sir. See you Monday morning. Yes? No? Have a great weekend. Appreciate you stopping by. Hey, Tim on CMEG, can you explain in general what your hot buttons mean? There's so many. Yeah. I mean, I could show you real quick. Actually, if you could do me a favor, Joe, I'm not going to sit here and re-explain it. At the very beginning of the video, if you scroll back, or like pretty much right when I pull my montage onto the screen, I kind of go through and explain what they are and like why they're there, and or like why there's so many. So if you want to see that feel free to jump back. Normally I would, but I'm a little tired and I just kind of want to get out of here. So maybe just ask me on Monday morning too, during the live stream. Be more than happy to kind of get into it, but I'm ready to get off as of right now. See you, man, out here. Thanks for your time. Of course, Thomas, appreciate you stopping by as always. Thomas, a big supporter. Yep, appreciate that, Joe. You have a good night as well. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Again, like and subscribe. Appreciate the support. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave those down below. Ask me on Discord, Twitter, all that good stuff. And have a good weekend. Be safe in this quarantine situation that we're in, and I'll see you Monday morning. Peace.